President Tolbert was killed on the 8th floor of the executive mansion. Now, I know that place because I lived up there myself. What General Kurongba and the main killer of Tolbert explained, it was the young man that actually shot him. The 8th floor is the family living floor of the president. It is very, very secured. All of the glasses up there are bulletproof glasses. The doors are sealed. So when the president enters, there's the living room, his bedroom, his wife's bedroom, the entire area, once he enters, it is secured. I'm told by General Kurongba after the firing started, and quite frankly, it's a very sad scenario. Most of the soldiers at the presidency that were guarding the president fled because their friends were staging a coup. They were all together, so they just didn't budge. They go upstairs and they actually have to knock on the president's door. After he had apparently called around the different stations, no one answered. He got up, got dressed, because the body of Tolbert was still dressed, fully dressed in a white suit. He got up, got dressed. They knocked on the door. They kept knocking on the door, and he opened the door because they could not get him. Like I said, that area is secured. You cannot enter unless the president inside opens the door. And the first gentleman, I am told by Kurongba, there's a young man called the late Nelson Toe, T-O-E, Nelson like in N-E-L-S-O-N. The last name is Toe, like in T-O-E. He fired the first shot to be followed by others, including a gentleman called Harrison, that's H-A-R-R-I-S-O-N, Penu. And now that Penu, I think, is P-E, and I stand corrected on this, N-U-E, if I'm not mistaken, Penu. He's also crowned. Then he was the second, but I am told by General Kurongba that the original first shot was fired by a young man called Nelson Toe, very fiery young man who ended up getting executed with we're saying too because of his fiery behavior.
Now, was Tolbert the only individual in that administration who met such a brutal fate?
No, following the killing of Tolbert, several members of the government were executed.
How long after the coup was that, Mr. Taylor?
I would say not more than 3 weeks. The council decided that they had to do something to demonstrate to the world that they were serious and that to set an example, as they put it, and they executed several officers.
How many?
If I'm not mistaken, there could have been as many as 17.
And where were they executed?
Right on the beach outside of the barracks. The Barclay Training Center in Monrovia is located on the beach. And I would say from the office of the commanding general to where the execution took place, maybe 500 meters, 500 to 1,000 meters where the execution took place.
Did you observe it?
I did.
What impact, if any, did it have on you?
I had never seen anybody killed. I had seen dead bodies before, as in normal death. It was a very chilling experience for me. I stood on the balcony of the commanding general's office and looked over to where the execution occurred.
Did you know personally any of those who were executed?
I knew all of them. I knew all of them. Some of them better than others. The speaker and others that were executed, like I say, were personal friends of my the president pro temp of the Senate by the name of Frank Tolbert. I had dated a daughter of his and visited his home many, many times as a young man. And there was a very good friend of mine, a personal friend of mine by the name of John like in J-O-H-N, Sherman. He was the Minister of Commerce. The rest of the ministers, I knew them very well.
So, were you party to the decision to execute them?
Really, we were party to a decision to help reduce the number of people that they really wanted to execute. I remember one evening I'm sitting down and General Kuwankwa returns from a council meeting. And mind you,
Council? Which council?
the PRC.
What does that stand for?
People's Redemption Council meeting.
What's that?
That's the junta that took over in Liberia. We are sitting and he comes and he's very sad. These meetings were held without anyone being invited in the beginning. Only those that staged the coup d'etat were permitted. He came very sad and he called me. He said, Taylor, the Chairman Doe has decided with the council that we should execute some people. I said, what? He said, yes. And he said, the people are, this is almost like Liberian English, the people are plenty. I said, what do you mean? So I said, about how many? He said, oh, it could be almost 200. I said, no. I said, Thomas, this cannot happen. And I got to know subsequently that other individuals, other progressive individuals have also heard this about a day later and were also pleading to say, you can't do this. We fought, at least I fought from my end to tell them that it was not that Tolbert's death was sufficient, but they insisted that some people had to go because this would show that the old system had been totally uprooted. And so they finally settled on these few.